Lyra tried to warn Alpha Kalen. She chose her moment carefully, when the council chamber emptied, when the fire burned low, when Seraphine wasn't within reach. "We need to talk," she said. Alpha Kalen didn't look up. "If this is about her, I'm not interested." "It's not about Aloan," Lyra said. "It's about Seraphine." Something flickered across his face. Not doubt. Annoyance. Lyra pressed on. "I followed her. She met someone outside the territory. A witch." Alpha Kalen laughed under his breath. "You're seeing ghosts. This isn't imagination. She's pushing the pack too hard. Wolves are breaking. The land feels wrong. She's doing what you never understood needed to be done," he snapped, slamming his hand against the table. Lyra flinched. "That's not you," she said quietly. For a moment, his gaze wavered. Then it hardened again. "You're confused," he said. "Still attached to the past." "She's using you," Lyra said, desperation rising. "And when the pack breaks." Enough. He stood, authority rolling off him like a wall. "I won't have you undermine my mate with baseless accusations." Mate. The word hit Lyra like a blow. Alpha Kalen's eyes went distant, detached. "I made my choice," he said. "And so did Aloan." Lyra searched his face for the brother she remembered. She found none. Whatever Seraphine was doing, it wasn't persuasion. It was influence. "You should be careful," he added coldly. "Spreading fear can make you look disloyal." Lyra stepped back. Her warning hadn't failed. It had never been allowed to matter. That night, Lyra stood at the forest's edge and felt the pull she'd ignored since the night Aloan saved her. Not memory. Direction. "If you're alive," she whispered, voice breaking, "I need you." The forest shifted. A path opened where none had been before. And Lyra followed it. Aloan woke before dawn in the forest. Not startled. Aware. Her chest felt heavy, not with emptiness, but with presence. Warmth spread beneath her ribs like a second heartbeat, steady and deep. It didn't push. It didn't claw. It waited. Aloan closed her eyes. For the first time in her life, she did not feel alone inside her own body. A consciousness stirred, vast, patient, impossibly calm. Not a voice. Not a thought. A knowing. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "You were never gone," she whispered. The truth settled gently but irrevocably. She had never failed to shift. Something had been holding back. Holding everything back. A name surfaced like breath. Noctira. Silver light flickered faintly beneath Aloan's skin, subtle, spiritual, like moonlit water. Not release. Not yet. Just acknowledgement. And deep within her, the presence answered, not with hunger, not with rage. With certainty. That night, the shift came. Not as glory. As devastation. Pressure became density. Density became fire. Aloan's bones ached like they were remembering a shape they'd been denied. She fell to her knees. "No," she whispered. "Not like this." The presence surged, urgent, relentless. The forest trembled. Her spine arched as pain tore through muscle and joint. The sound that left her throat wasn't a scream. It was grief. Bones cracked. Reformed. Claws burst through skin, silver under moonlight. Her senses exploded outward: scent, sound, awareness, too much, too fast. This was not a gift. It was a breaking. A final snap, like the earth splitting open. When it ended, a massive silver wolf stood where Alolan had been, breath heaving, eyes glowing with unbearable awareness. Devastated. The wolf lifted her head and howled. Not in dominance. In mourning. And far away beneath the same moon, Silverclaw felt it. Every wolf froze. Because the night had answered at last. Lyra reached the clearing just after midnight. She stopped at the edge and didn't step forward. Her wolf pressed hard beneath her skin, instincts flaring in a way she had never felt before. Not fear. Not submission. Something closer to reverence. Alolan, she said quietly. The forest answered first. A low pressure settled over the clearing, heavy and deliberate, as if the land itself drew breath. Silver eyes opened in the darkness. A massive wolf stepped into the moonlight, coat pale as frost, scars marking endurance, not weakness. Her gaze fixed on Lyra, sharp and intelligent. Lyra swallowed hard. She bowed her head without thinking. I didn't know, she said. No one did. The wolf held her gaze for a long moment. Then she shifted. Alolan stood where the wolf had been, bare feet grounded in the earth, posture calm but guarded. She did not move closer. You shouldn't be here, Alolan said. I know. Silence stretched, thick with what Lyra had no right to ask. Lyra forced herself to speak before she lost the nerve. There's something wrong with the land, she said. Not just the pack. The ground itself is weakening. Seraphine is at the center of it. Alolan's expression didn't change. Lyra took a breath, voice tightening. She's not just cruel. She's deliberate. And someone is guiding her. Still nothing. Lyra stepped forward once, just once, desperation breaking through restraint. Everyone inside those borders is in danger, she said. They don't see it. They won't listen. And I don't have the strength to stop it. Her voice dropped. But you do. The words hung between them. You felt her, Alolan said at last. Lyra nodded immediately. The moment I crossed into the forest. Alolan looked toward the moon for a brief moment, then back to Lyra. I won't return to be what they broke, she said. I won't answer to them. I wouldn't ask you to. But I won't let the land be taken, Alolan continued. And I won't let her hollow it out from the inside. She shifted. The silver wolf surged forward, powerful and decisive, heading towards Silverclaw without looking back. Lyra followed. Because some choices could not be undone. Silverclaw fell before night fully settled. Lady Betrayal entered the great hall expecting obedience. She found Seraphine instead. Alone. Waiting. You've done well, Lady Betrayal said. You've strengthened this pack. Seraphine smiled faintly. I learned from you. The blade struck clean and precise. Lady Betrayal collapsed, shock eclipsing cruelty for the first time. You taught me weakness must be removed, Seraphine whispered. The witch stepped from the shadows, satisfied. Moments later, the symbols beneath Silverclaw ignited. Dark bindings erupted from the ground, trapping Alpha Kalen where he stood. Wolves collapsed mid-shift as their strength drained into the land. Panic spread. Silverclaw began to break. The ground screamed before the first strike landed. Symbols burned beneath the earth like veins splitting open. Wolves staggered as power was torn from them, knees hitting stone, breath stolen mid-shift. The witch stood at the center, arms raised, voice layered with something older than language. "Feel it," she said calmly. "The land remembers me." Eloan crossed the border at full speed. She shifted mid-stride. Silver fur erupted as she landed with enough force to crack stone beneath her paws. The witch turned. Recognition flickered. "So," she said softly. The quiet one finally woke. Eloan advanced. The witch slammed her staff down. The earth buckled. Roots rose, blackened and thorned, wrapping Eloan's legs, drinking power directly from the soil. The ground beneath her dulled as life began to leach away. "You draw strength from this land," the witch said. "So do I." Eloan lowered her head. The moon above pulsed. Silver light flooded her veins, not from the ground, but from above. The roots shriveled into ash. Eloan surged forward. The witch twisted her hands sharply. Pain exploded through Eloan's limbs as invisible force tried to tear muscle from bone, targeting joints, trying to break her body the way the pack had tried to break her spirit. Eloan staggered. For one breath, blood marked silver fur. Then she planted her paws. Moonlight wrapped her like armor. Bone reinforced. Sinew steadied. Pain receded into something colder and clearer. She lunged. The witch barely escaped, cloak shredding as claws tore through shadow. The witch's eyes darkened. Then fight without her. She whispered a name not meant for mortal ears. The world tilted. Eloan felt the wrenching pull at her core, spirit dragged at, body threatened with hollow obedience. Eloan roared. The sound wasn't animal. It was ancient. Moonlight burst outward. Silver runes spiraled through the air like living scripture. A vast, feminine presence stirred behind the light, patient, immense, watching. Not possession. Recognition. The witch stumbled back. That power was never yours. Eloan stepped forward, eyes burning silver blue. It never belonged to you. The witch screamed an incantation. Illusions flooded the grounds, wolves seeing enemies in one another, claws flashing, panic spreading fast and ugly. Eloan threw back her head and howled. The sound shattered illusion like glass. Wolves froze, suddenly themselves again. The witch reeled. Fury tore through her composure. "You think this makes you strong?" she snarled. "You are still flesh." She drove both hands into the earth. The ground split. Corrupted moonlight erupted upward in jagged arcs meant to rip spirit from body and end Eloan where she stood. This time, Eloan did not brace. She advanced. Moonlight answered her movement, igniting silver markings across her fur like constellations. The air bent as she leapt straight through the spell, claws slicing through the magic itself. She hit the witch with full force. Not a warning. Not restraint. The impact hurled the witch across the grounds into shattered stone. Eloan pinned her there, claws digging deep, power pressing down like a tide. Blood darkened beneath the silver glow. "You don't know what you are," the witch choked. Eloan lowered her head, eyes cold with certainty. "I know exactly what I am." Eloan struck again. Moonlight exploded outward as she tore through the witch's defenses, ripping away the spellwork anchoring her to the land. Symbols beneath Silverclaw shattered completely, collapsing inward with a roar. The witch screamed, fear now, not fury. Her body began to unravel, smoke curling from her skin as her remaining magic flared in desperation. Eloan reared back. One final blow would have ended it. The witch vanished an instant before impact, dissolving into shadow and ash as her voice echoed through the ruins. "This isn't over." Alolan's claws struck stone, carving deep grooves where the witch had been. Silence followed. Not relief. Resolution. Seraphine staggered back as the spell word collapsed, her composure finally breaking. Whatever she'd worn, status, fear, illusion, was gone. Alolan faced her once. No threat. No flourish. You don't command this land, Alolan said calmly. You never did. Seraphine's lips curled. You think they'll follow you? Alolan's gaze moved past her, toward the pack, toward the ground beneath their feet. I don't need them to. Moonlight surged briefly, severance, not attack. The influence Seraphine relied on snapped like glass. For the first time, Seraphine was just another wolf standing alone. Alolan turned away. She was finished. Seraphine laughed sharply, trying to reclaim ground with words. Running again? Leaving them to clean up your mess? A voice answered behind her, cold, clear. No. Chain snapped tight around Seraphine's wrists as Alpha Kalen stepped forward, eyes finally unclouded. You need me, Seraphine spat. I needed truth, he said. You fed me control. Guards closed in. Seraphine fought, desperate, furious. I gave this pack strength. You gave us fear, Alpha Kalen replied. And you murdered my mother. Her smile died. He pulled her forward, binding her fully. You used my authority, he said, steady and final. You harmed my people. And you would have destroyed this land. You answered to me. She was dragged toward the dungeon, screams swallowed by stone. The doors slammed shut. Final. The land still trembled with residual fracture. Alolan moved beyond the grounds into the forest again, following the last pull of broken magic. She ran until the air steadied, until the symbols faded completely, until the ground stopped screaming. Only then did she slow. Only then did she allow herself to shift back, breath heavy, power settling. When Alolan returned to Silverclaw, it was not as Luna. It was not as mate. It was as the one who had finished the work. The great hall stood in ruins. Alpha Kalen waited near the center. He did not approach. He knelt. I broke you, he said. No explanation. No defense. I enforced your silence. I watched them strip you down piece by piece, and I allowed it because it benefited me. I used the bond to keep you compliant. Alolan listened without reaction. I don't ask for forgiveness, he continued. I only need you to hear that I understand what I did. Alolan stepped forward, past him. I didn't come back for this conversation, she said calmly. I came back to end what was left unfinished. Silver light stirred between them. I choose myself, Alolan said. Silver light brightened. Alpha Kalen inhaled sharply as the bond unraveled, absence settling where certainty once lived. I accept it, he said quietly. There was nothing else to say. Lyra stood near the broken doors. She did not speak. She did not follow. She only nodded once. At the border of Silverclaw, Alolan paused, acknowledgement, not hesitation. I protected this place because it mattered, she said. Not because it owned me. No one argued. No one tried to stop her. Alolan stepped beyond the boundary. The forest closed around her, welcome, not exile. Moonlight traced her path as she disappeared between the trees, silver and steady. She did not leave in grief. She did not leave in anger. She left in alignment. Not as Luna. Not as Alpha's mate. but as a wolf who chose her own life. And this time, she did not look back. Months later, the forest grew thicker at Silverclaw's border. Some said a silver wolf guarded it. Others said the land had finally learned who protected it. Eloin never returned. And Silverclaw never forgot what it lost.